Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the AU Open Forum this year. I think for those who are joining for the first time, you consider this is like your home. And I think it's a platform we share as an organization, African organization. We share what we are doing, what we have accomplished, and also it's also an opportunity for you also to share with us what you have accomplished back home and the challenges that you are facing. So I think without further ado, let me welcome you once again. Also, let me recognize that we have also some ministers with us. Honorable Minister, you are welcome. And also we have members of parliaments with us also. They are welcome. I think after we make the introduction and the briefing from the organization, if you feel that you want to speak for the ministers, I will give you the floor so that you can at least greet everybody and somehow if you have something to share with us, please feel free to share. Without further ado, the agenda for today, you are going to get briefing from the two main organizations that are responsible for the African IGF and also from the digital activity within Africa, namely the African Union Commission and the United Nations Commission for Africa. You're going to hear what we are doing, so that you rest assured that a lot of things are being done in the continent, and the next session we are going to get a briefing on the African IGF that was held in Tanzania. We hear from the youth representative, the MAC chair, and then we're going to open the floor for Q&A. I can see that we have the Honorable Minister of Zambia. Welcome. It's an honor, Gambia, welcome. It's an honor to have you with us today. And also, we have the Permanent Secretary of Tanzania, the host of the African IGF 2025. Without further ado, let's start the program, and let's hear from Dr. Maktar Sek, Chief Digital Officer within the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. Maktar, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Adil, and good morning to everyone. Good morning, PS. Honorable Minister, distinguished delegate, let me going to start by thanking you for attending this open forum, to listen what are we doing for you, and also we need to get a view from you. It's very important because we are here to serve a member state as the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. And this support should be based on your needs. And for this year, 2024-2025, lots of things has been happening at the continental level, driven by ECA. And this activity or key project are based on the needs of the continent. And where we have focused during this period under review, as you know, our continent is facing several challenges. Let me just focus on four. One, it is on policy harmonization. We have a lot of fragmentation of our policy, and one of our role, it is to work with AUC on how to harmonize all this policy, because our objective is to come with a digital single market in the implementation with the African free trade area. Second, connectivity is a big issue across the continent. You have seen in end of 2023, the connectivity was 37% for African country. And end of 2004, we have 38%. Means we have only 1% progress for 1 year. It's something not acceptable. Why? Because we have an issue of affordability, issue of infrastructure, issue of literacy, and policy also, and also involvement of the private sector. Why we have several activities to try to put more involvement of the private sector by supporting African countries to develop the rule and regulation involving this private sector. Also to develop also this access to the service and device. Why we have developed one platform, tax calculator, to review the taxation in the ICT sector. I think we can share the link at the screen. And this taxation has been conducted in 54 member states with all data following the salary payment, the tax VAT, excess deity, everything regarding tax in the ICT sector. And we have shown to the Minister of Finance in this conference last year that optimizing ITC tax can increase not only the GDP, but we have seen an increase, according to our statistic, of the broadband connectivity as well as the job creation. What does it mean? ICT sector, it is not an area where government thinks they can get money, more money. Generally, all our government will focus on the ICT sector, on the taxation. We have to optimize. When we optimize, we have seen how all tax collection revenue will be increased because the impact of ICT sector in other sector, health, education, finance service. It is a one platform, you have at your disposal. And we invite the Minister of Finance and Minister of ICT to go through to this tool and to discuss how they can optimize the taxation in your respective country. It is a very comprehensive tool. You can play 1%, 2%, 4% until you get the amount necessary for the development of the country. Another point, it is we talk about a lot on AI, artificial intelligence, but the big problem is we don't know exactly what's happened in the continent. I don't know if I'm Rwanda, what's happened in innovation on artificial intelligence in Kenya or in Senegal or in Mauritania or in Tanzania. We have developed a web-based platform to show all innovation on AI in the continent. And we have found around 2,400 innovation across the continent. And we have selected, given the impact, 343 innovation in around, I think, 28 sectors. And you have the platform, you can visit the website. And this platform will show you what is the impact of this innovation, how to contact also people who led this innovation across the continent, and will create a knowledge sharing as a partnership, collaborative, technical transfer, digital skills between Africa. It is the second project. The other one, on data governance, we thank GIZ. We work with GIZ to support 4 African countries to harmonize or to develop their national framework on data governance and to build their capacity in line with the African Union data governance framework. Namely, we are supporting DRC, Burundi, and Tanzania, as well as Mozambique. We are making good progress in DRC and Burundi, and we start last week the process, 2 weeks ago, the process in Tanzania and in Mozambique. And by end of this year, we are going to have the 4 strategy ready and build the capacity of these 4 African countries through the support provided by GIZ. Digital ID. Very important as a continent if you want to develop the continent. As you know, we have 500 million of our population without any legal form of identity. When you talk about 38% connectivity, you forget this 500 million. It is something we need to overcome in the continent, and why we have a big component project activity on digital ID, and we support a lot of African countries to develop their national digital ID. Ethiopia, we are supporting them now, and we have now more than 10 million people registration in the digital ID database, and we organize successful digital ID for Africa meeting in May in Ethiopia. Another issue on policy, the issue of cyber security. We talk about the Malabo Convention is there since, I don't know, more than 10 years, 12 years. We have only 14 countries who ratify. And when we ask countries, they told, yeah, you have to adapt. But we are working with African Union to adapt to update this, this framework to respond to the need of African country. Digital single market also, we are working on this. And also we work with African NENDA and the World Bank on the digital payment system, how we make this cross-border digital transaction happening in the continent. As you know, we have around 130 digital payment system in the continent, and more than 100, they don't speak each other. Because issue of interoperability, issue of regulation, and we work of this African country to make sure we have an interoperability system across the continent, and in order to make this digital payment happening in all African continent, because we need to develop this digital trade between African countries, not in a country alone. It is what we do in cross-border digital payment this year. Another point where we are, it is a capacity building. We need to build the capacity of policymakers, of youth, of also private sector. Why we have several programs on capacity building, targeting this woman entrepreneurship, on digital trade, on finance technology, policymaker on how to use this emerging technology, how to develop the law and regulation, as well as capacity building for the parliamentarian. We have also a program of capacity building for the youth on innovation. And we organize this STI forum, SIAS Technology Innovation Forum for African country. And we have a very big component for youth, how this youth can utilize, can use this digital technology to solve the African problem. And we call it this concept, origin concept. The origin concept is find local solution for problem, African problem. And it is this work, this concept work very well in Kenya, in other 3-4 countries, Morocco and Zambia, and another one in Senegal also. We have this project, this origin project. Another point, it is on the collaboration, international collaboration, how African country should amplify its voice at the international level. We are the focal point for Wishes for Africa, World Summit Information Society. We organize several gatherings, several meetings. And this year we organize a Wishes Plus 20 in Cotonou in May. And almost all African countries were represented at the government level, private sector, civil society. And we come up with a declaration on the Wishes Plus 20. What are the view for Africa since the implementation of the wishes in 2025, what we need for Africa also, what are our key priorities. We did the same thing also in Tanzania with the African Internet Governance Forum, and thank you also for the government of Benin and the government of Tanzania for their support in organizing this Wishes Plus 20 and the African Internet Governance Forum. And for these two events, because they are linkage between Wishes and IGF, because IGF is part of the Wishes, it is one key outcome of Wishes. We agree, Africa, priority of Africa, it is on policy, harmonizing policy. We need to harmonize our policy. We need to bridge the digital divide between rural, urban, and between country, because we have several digital divide between the country and Africa. Also between the men, women, and youth, we need to bridge the digital divide. Another priority for Africa, it is digital literacy. We need to build our capacity of our policymaker, of our youth generation, because Africa, the aspiration for Africa is to be leader in this digital technology by 2050. And we have more than a lot of youth across the continent who are making a lot of progress, innovation. I give you an example. During the COVID period, Africa has registered around 5 innovation on AI, of focus on medical issue, healthcare, and other. It is a one priority for Africa. Another priority, it is this collaboration. We need this kind of collaboration. Knowledge sharing, discuss between us. What happened in Rwanda, what happened in Tanzania, what happened in Nigeria, and to share knowledge. We have to start this collaboration in Africa first. Yesterday, during the session, we have several initiatives shared by the Excellence Minister of Chad. I think it is something very important. We have to learn about it and to see how we can collaborate it. Also, another, I'm going to finish quickly because we have too many things. Another area where we need to focus in Africa, it is energy. We talk about a lot of time on digital technology, but we forget the energy side. As you know, 700 million of our population doesn't have access to electricity. And when we want to build this digital future, this internet society, this digital economic society, we need also to take into consideration energy. And last not least, it is a security, very important. Cyber security, it is a big challenge for the continent if we want to use this digital information, this service. Also, we talk about disinformation, misinformation. It is something we have because it's coming with this knowledge society. We need to find a way. There is a good example presented yesterday by the Gambia. I think it is something we can build to see how we can mitigate it, this misinformation, disinformation across our country and across also our continent. And all this declaration, Cotonou Declaration, Dar es Salaam Declaration, concur to find an issue for all these challenges in Africa. And finally, we have requested at the WCIS and also in IGF to expand the mandate of Internet Governance Forum for the next 10 years, given the multi-stakeholder aspect of this forum. Also, to expand this WCIS forum for the next 10 years to align with the SDG, also to make an alignment also with the Global Digital Compact we have adopted in September through 5 objectives, namely connectivity, inclusion, data governance, cyber security, and also artificial intelligence. We are going to stop there, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mokhtar. Thank you. Thank you. I promise you, you will have time to speak because I think that's the essence of the session. It's for have people on the floor to speak and share their experience. Let me also acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Minister from Chad and also Dr. Amina Miada, the EVC CEO of Nigeria Communication Commission. I think Nigeria has been a strong ally of the African IGF. They hosted 3 or 4 times in the last decade. So we are very thankful to Nigeria. Let me just run quickly through some of the activity within the African Union Commission. This is not like something, this is an ongoing activity, and most of this activity are going to be reported through the ministerial meeting that is going to take place by the end of the year. With regard to the digital transformation strategy for Africa, and in collaboration with World Bank, the following activities commenced this year. Digital connectivity for education and agricultural sector, digital implementation tracking tool, offline, online data collection tool to track implementation of digital transformation across Africa, digital transformation strategy implementation monitoring and visualization dashboard, report on digital transformation implementation across the continent, and recommendation. Development of green digital infrastructure framework, guidelines and standard, as well as GHG calculation tool for Africa. Following the adoption of the interoperability framework for Africa, Digital ID, the AUC is now considering developing guidelines and minimum standard for interoperable digital ID across Africa. The EU also is pleased to share that PRIDA Phase 2 will be formally launched as early as August of this year. PRIDA 2 will support AUC to accelerate the implementation of the digital transformation strategy for Africa, harmonization of policy and regulation to support the realization of the African digital single market, and strengthening the ability of African stakeholders to actively participate in the global internet governance debate. On the implementation of the EU data policy framework, the Commission will prepare the following reports. Progress report on the implementation of Data Governance Technical Assistance Program with the support of GIZ, Data Categorization and Sharing Framework, Cross-Border Data Flow Framework and Mechanism, Continental Open Data Strategy. On the implementation of the Continental AI Strategy, the Commission will impact on the development of the following: implementation plan and M&E framework for the Continental AI Strategy, study on the implication of AI on African economy, society, peace and security, democracy and development, report on the AU participation in G20, including update of the AI for Africa Initiative, African AI Conference, and G20 outcomes in relation to AU Digital Agenda. A draft Continental Cybersecurity Strategy has been developed. The Commission is conducting consultation and validation workshop involving various stakeholder groups on the continent. The final draft should be presented to the Specialized Technical Committee meeting for approval by early November of this year. The EU Commission also will be launching cybersecurity initiative in close collaboration with World Bank, EU. Key areas under the initiative is domestication of Malabo Convention, as mentioned by my colleague here, including developing model laws on Malabo Convention, related to Malabo Convention, and cybersecurity strategy, and also development of child-friendly online portal and for African children, and also the digital ID. I stop here. Let me give the floor to His Excellency, the Permanent Secretary of Tanzania, the host of this current African IGF. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Honorable Ministers, dear colleagues, good morning. As we all know that the 14th Africa IGF was held in Dar es Salaam from 29 to 31st May 2025. And this forum was represented from with various stakeholders, including policymakers, parliamentarians, private sectors, technical committees, youth advocates, civil society organization, academia. We are all gathered in this forum. And it also welcomed almost 1,097 participants, both in person, and most of them were online, from almost 67 countries, including 49 from the African continent, 18 international partner countries, and the forum both brought together a wide range of stakeholders across the digital ecosystem. And on this forum, we came out with a declaration, which due to limited time, I'll just go and talk about the key points, what was discussed and what is inside the declaration. Inside this declaration, we identified the key challenges, which were almost around 9 of them. I'll go through one by one. And one of the key challenges that was discussed and which is in this declaration is the issue of infrastructure and connectivity. And this, we are trying to address the large segments of our population remains excluded due to limited broadband coverage, high data cost, and insufficient access to fixed broadband networks. And the second key challenge which was addressed in the Dar es Salaam Declaration is the Internet Resource Management. As we all know, the African Network Information Center, AFRINIC, faces serious operation and the governance challenges, including financial instability, leadership, disputes, regulatory uncertainty, jeopardizing effective resources management. So those are most of the challenges that we are facing in the internet resource management on AFRINIC. And the third issue that is inside the Dar es Salaam Declaration is the digital inclusion, vulnerable and marginalized groups, including persons with disabilities, refugees and stateless persons, women, rural youth, informal sector workers remain excluded from digital opportunities. And the fourth challenges which has been addressed in the Dar es Salaam Declaration is regulatory readiness, fragmented digital policies and regulatory frameworks across member states that hinders the development of coherent, right-based, and innovative digital ecosystem. And the fifth one, which has been addressed in the recent declaration, is capacity development. Education systems lack integration of advanced digital skills such as AI, artificial intelligence, big data security, cyber security, and furthermore, many schools' curricula do not integrate ICT education at the primary level, limiting early exposure to digital skills. And the sixth challenge is cybersecurity threats. We all know weak data protection regimes and limited cybersecurity capabilities leave countries vulnerable to cybercrime, data breaches, and attacks on critical infrastructure. The seventh key issue that was identified, the challenge, is stakeholder engagement and continental coordination. Here we're trying to address the inadequate framework exists for definition roles, responsibilities, and oversight mechanism among the key stakeholders, as well as the articulated and defined African common position on digital governance issues. And the eighth issue that has been declared in the Dar es Salaam Declaration is localized content. Limited availability of digital content in local languages and culturally relevant formats undermines digital inclusion and cultural preservation. And the last key challenge that has been addressed is the energy infrastructure. Unreliable electricity supply continued to constrain ICT deployment and digital connectivity. So my dear colleagues, these are the 9 challenges that we discussed in the Dar es Salaam Forum, and they are all well explained in the Dar es Salaam Declaration. So what we did is we came up with commitments to addressing the above challenges through following actions. One is to do investment in secure and resilient infrastructure. Here we are trying to address to promote investment in the development and expansion in critical internet infrastructure to ensure equitable and secure access to digital resources across Africa, including domain names, IP address, and root servers. The second commitment is accelerating and the adoption of digital public infrastructure, DPI, to foster public-private civil society partnership to scale up DPI as a means to improve service delivery, governance, and digital innovation. The third one is enhancing energy infrastructure and connectivity. Here we're trying to address the support the modernization and digitalization of power systems while integrating renewable energy solutions to expand broadband access in remote areas. And the fourth one is ensuring effective governance to internet resources. Here we're trying to address to strengthening the institutional and operationalization stability of AFRINEC, guided by transparency, accountability, and regional ownership. As we all know, we have a lot of challenges in AFRINEC. And the fifth one is strengthening policy and legal frameworks, advanced regional harmonization of digital governing policies, legislation with focus on AI regulations, data protection, and inclusive digital innovation using multi-stakeholder governance sandboxes. And the sixth one is advancing cybersecurity and data governance. Here we're trying to harmonize national and regional frameworks on to introduce cybersecurity maturity, accessing, mitigate risk, and enhance digital trust. And the seventh one is promoting digital inclusion and skills development. Here we're trying to implement inclusive digital literacy programs that address gender, stability, and geographical disparities, and integrate advanced technology modules into national curricula, including AI, Internet of Things, quantum computing, and edge technologies. And the eighth is establishment of regional center of excellences to commit to the development of indigenous African human capacity across member states to support African-led digital transformation. The ninth one is advancing content development that support the production and this dissemination of high-quality digital content that reflects African culture, languages, and knowledge system. We also looked at empowering African youth. Here we are committed to empower African youth to lead, innovate, and thrive in the digital future by investing in their potential, fostering digital skills, and providing the necessary support to unlock the benefits of digital transformation for the continent. The next one is empowering African parliamentarians. We commit to empower African parliamentarians to strengthen their role as key drivers of digital governance, shaping policies that promote sustainable development, foster innovation, and ensure equitable access to digital opportunity across the continent. The next one is encouraging African countries to ratify the Malabo Convention by establishing a dedicated committee to examine the underlying reason for the low ratification rate and to propose necessary reforms or action to facilitate broader adoption. And the last one is developing African Internet Governance Index. Here we are trying to commit to identify specific targets, indicators, and metrics for the progress and development of internet governance in Africa. Dear colleagues, these are the commitments that they are mentioned in Dar es Salaam Declaration that took place on 29th to 31st May of this year. To conclude, we also came up with additional commitment and the strategic imperatives. One is to do strengthening monitoring, evaluation, and the oversight frameworks. Here we are trying to come up to develop a continental mechanism for monitoring and evaluation progress with biannual report to the African IGF to ensure transparency and evidence-based decision-making. We also came up with advancing gender equality and intergeneration digital justice to close the gender digital divide, promote women leadership in internet governance, and empower Africa youth to co-create digital policies and solutions. Also, we also came up with promoting multilinguistic and the protection of legal knowledge systems. Here we are trying to enable, promote, and develop digital services in indigenous African language to preserve traditional knowledge through inclusive digital platforms. We also, the additional one is integrating environmental sustainability and climate smart digital transformation. Here we adopt a green ICT policy, invest in low carbon digital infrastructure, and promote circular economy approach, including e-waste management. We also came up with mobilizing partnership and international solidarity. Call on international partners to support Africa-led digital transformation through investment, technical assistance, and equitable partnership in global governance processes. Safeguarding human rights and digital freedom, and hold fundamental rights, including freedom of expression, access to information, privacy, and protection from discrimination in all digital policies and technologies. Strengthening national and sub-regional IGF supports the development and sustainability of national and sub-regional internet governance forum, NRI, as inclusive platforms aligned with African IGF process. Elevating African digital influence, enhancing intra-Africa coordination to ensure effective and sustainable African engagement global is forum. To conclude with the declaration is that the present declaration reflects African collective commitment to reaffirm the pivotal role of the Internet Governance IGF as an essential platform for fostering inclusive, transparent, and multi-stakeholder discussion on global internet governance, as well as broad spectrum of digital policy and policy issues. Also, to ensure that progress remains aligned with global priorities, including the objective of the Global Digital Compact. We call for the continuous of ongoing process within the framework of the World Summit Information Society, WSIS, throughout the next decade. Furthermore, we look forward to the WSIS Plus 20 review, formally establishing the Internet Governance Forum, IGF, mandate as a permanent United Nations entity with secure and sustainable funding, ensuring the continued impact and relevance in the evolving global governance of the Internet digital policy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Permanent Secretary. Thank you very much for the report. It was very enlightening. I am sure by now you guys are tired of this side of the meeting, so we are going to open the floor. I don't see from far, so if there is a representative from Youth, AfriSIG, APNIC, and MAG, please, you can take the floor. But let me start also by, I understand the minister. I think the Permanent Secretary is going to excuse himself. He has another engagement. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. So. Thank you very much. Let me start by giving the floor. I understand the minister from Gambia want to address the meeting. Okay. Thank you very much. So let's open the floor for intervention, Q&A, remarks, reports from the floor. I think, as I said, this is the essence of this meeting. It's good that we have almost 35 minutes or 36 minutes. So we start with, I think that there is a queue there. We start from Ponslate.
Thank you very much, Chair. Ponslate speaking for the record. I would like to know, you talked about this committee being set up to get more countries to adopt the Malabo Convention. If you look at it currently with the 15 countries that have adopted and rectified it, it's really very embarrassing. You only have Egypt and Senegal as the big countries there. All the others are small countries: South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya. They have not adopted it. So I don't know what Ethiopia, who houses the African Union. I don't know how you are going to do it with this committee, because I believe that to go forward with, when you want to localize cybersecurity initiatives, our own GDPR, which is the Malabo Convention, at least the big countries should be a good example for that, and it has taken time. So I don't know how this committee will do it. Thank you very much.
Henriette.
Thank you, Adil. Henriette Esterhuizen. I am the organizer, or one of the organizers of the African School on Internet Governance, which is an initiative of the AU, Research ICT Africa, and Association for Progressive Communications. And I just want to share that we had AfriSIG this year. It was the 13th AfriSIG in Tanzania. I cannot thank enough the Ministry of ICT, the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Leo Magomba, his team, and everyone in Tanzania for doing an exceptional job in hosting us, and for giving us so many of their staff to be part of the school and participate in the school. So just to thank everyone, the Nigerian Communications Commission who's hosted, ECA, everyone who's hosted, and that I do feel that over time, AfriSIG is really contributing to leadership development and internet governance in Africa. It's a school not for entry-level people. It's for people that are practicing professionals, leaders from all stakeholder groups in internet governance. It's very intensive, but we really have results. And I think it also demonstrates that there is so much leadership and there is so much capacity, and the faculty of AfriSIG as well, and many of them are in the room, are people of exceptional quality. And I think the one thing that AfriSIG shows us is that we already have expertise. We have existing internet governance expertise in the continent. continent. We need to galvanize it. And Adil, I'll just share with you, I won't name the donor, but there was a donor that we had a meeting with recently that referred to AfriSec as the Ivy League among schools of internet governance. So I just want to thank everyone who's always been part of that. Just how many people here have participated in AfriSec over the years? Just put up your hands. So thanks very much to everyone. And then I think just in response to the call you put to us, I think that what we really just have to be cautious about, we have such a spirit of collaboration in Africa and we produce good outputs. Every African IGF has produced excellent outputs, but we don't go back to them and see if we are actually implementing. I'm even thinking of AfriSec in 2022, where we collaborated with the African Union to produce an input for the open-ended working group, which was a strategy on how to build multi-stakeholder cyber resilience, very practical steps and recommendations. And I think we should really be very cautious about constantly making new proposals, coming up with new ideas. Often I think that happens at the expense of actually fully implementing the ones we've already generated. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amina Ramalan. I'm from Nigeria. I am a representative of the Africa Youth IGF. I will be giving a brief of the Africa Youth IGF 2025. So the Africa Youth IGF 2025 held as a pre-event of the Africa IGF 2025. The theme of the day was Empowering Youth to Promote Africa's Digital Future, which was aligned with the theme for the main Africa IGF. The forum had over 200 participants from across several African countries. This was actually one of our most attended Africa Youth IGFs, and hopefully it will be impactful and the recommendations will be implemented. We had a series of conversations across some of the initiatives that Mukhtar and Adil have mentioned, like the digital identity and borderless opportunity. One of our conversations around that was for cross-continental interoperability, so that digital identity is interoperable between nations. We also had conversations on collaborative approaches to social media content moderation, ensuring that different platforms adopt unique approaches to content moderation, noting that while there is a thin line between protecting freedom of expression and ensuring user safety, platforms need to ensure that their guidelines are clear, accessible, and easy to understand. We also had conversations on open source and open future, Africa's youth on AI and frontier tech. We noted that UNESCO's Open AI Readiness Assessment is being implemented in 50+ African countries. However, there is still a need for investment across the continent within the entire AI value chain from computers to data to talent and policy, because without skilled youth and infrastructure, funding alone will not be effective in developing AI solutions. And lastly, we had an intergenerational dialogue between the youth and parliamentarians. Now, the key of this session was to bring together the architects of the early WC's engagement and the future and the leaders of today. We had conversations around the founding principles of the WC's and engaged in dialogue on how we can chart our way forward as a region and what will be most important for us while the WC's mandate is being reviewed. In conclusion, the Africa Youth IGF provided a platform for young leaders to engage in meaningful dialogue on the role of youth in shaping Africa's digital transformation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think I have to adjust this. Thanks very much for organizing the forum. I've been away for a while, and so I'm quite impressed with the activity I'm seeing. I thought I'll try to redirect some things and then maybe also post my priorities just so that I'm also included. I like to do a check. There was a mention of domain names, so I like to find out how many of the people here have domain names from African CCTLDs or .Africa. Okay, you have some, but notice that it's very small. So redirect to we believing in ourselves and owning the domain name system in Africa. The second thing is there was a mention about Afrinic having financial problems. I think the evidence is that they even have reserves of about $9 million. I do not know many companies in Africa that, apart from operating capital, have reserves of 9 million. So that needs to be the problem we see with Afrinic, our resource management organization, is more about failure of the multi-stakeholder approach, where it's not able to reach consensus, and there are attempts of capture. You know, when participation is low, this process we like so much can easily be captured, and that may be a good study for the researchers and academicians regarding the case of Afrinic. Now, I just want to now throw my priorities. For me, I think the supply side is where we are not. Africa is not on the supply side. Even on the internet, Africa is not on the supply side. We can clap about every small gain, but we are not significant suppliers of anything on the internet. Not really, okay? So we have to kind of focus on what creates that supply side. In my opinion, is science education, and also in particular, the sciences that are creating these technologies, which is really computer science, okay? Applications of it is what we are seeing that we are enjoying. We've been doing AI since the 70s, okay? And we've been doing all these distributed systems things since that time. So for me, the priority is in beefing up science education. It does not mean that the other humanities and social sciences are not significant, but you need a minimum composition of the sciences to be able to advance, in my opinion. The second message that I can give is we need to adopt the MS practices in our domestic environments, because it requires certain techniques such as active participation, and you must be knowledgeable enough, and you must be constructive, and you need to have a moderator that will call consensus. So if you miss participation, it can be captured. If you don't have a moderator that can call consensus, you are doomed. So I just leave it there. The last bit is we have to preserve and grow the capacities that we have by focusing on intergenerational mentorship and coaching. Currently, it looks like it's disjointed. Everybody's going their own way, peer-to-peer. We forget that you have to have a stream, especially in certain areas like cybersecurity, where you cannot afford to have any vacuum in the chain. So I thought I'll give you these two ideas, and thank you very much for a good forum.
Thank you very much. Can you please be brief, because I think we need to give the floor for as many people as possible.
Sure. Good morning. My name is Tobias Thiel, and I'm the resident director of GIZ for the African Union, based in Addis Ababa. Thank you so much for a comprehensive presentation. You outlined quite an extensive list on African-led initiatives in the digital sector, which I believe is a crucial prerequisite for the digital transformation of the continent. At the same time, we also know from experience that the commitment is also very much measured in terms of the resources that are being committed. So my question to you would be, given recent reductions in international cooperation budgets, how do you realistically expect this wealth of initiatives to be funded, especially with a view to member state resources, but also private sector? Thank you so much.
All right, so from this side.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, you have also another side?
Yeah.
Okay, so please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Jacqueline Jijide, and I'm from Malawi. Actually, I'm ambassador for Pan-African Youth Internet Governance, and as well as the digital inclusion practitioner, and also a member of Malawi Youth IGF. Thank you so much for the presentations that have been made, more especially on the issues to do with digital inclusion. My question this morning will be directed more especially on the proposed solution to do with promoting digital inclusion as well as skills development. I always advocate for a digital divide, more especially for the remote areas. So my question is, in rural communities where digital infrastructure is weak, digital literacy is low, and participation in development programs is limited. How can we rethink our approach to make digital inclusion and skills training more accessible, practical, and embraced by people themselves? Thank you.
Good morning. I am Michel Kenmo. I'm the West Africa Advisor for Communication and Information for UNESCO. Thank you for the presentation. My intervention here is to share with you an initiative that is ongoing in West Africa and the Sahel region and related to information integrity. I'm happy to see Honorable Minister from Gambia, who is one of our champions of that initiative. And the initiative aims at promoting a coherent and integrated approach to policy on information integrity, as well as enhancing digital platform governance. As you know, UNESCO has adopted a few years ago the guideline for digital platform governance, and through the initiative, it's to come up with a policy framework, model policy framework across the region on information integrity that will cover, among other, digital platform governance, access to information and data in line with the model law on access to information adopted by African Union. It also will address the issue of population resilience and to the issue of disinformation online, as has been said here, it's considered a major threat in the region. And the initiative has started with a series of consultation of stakeholders across the West Africa region with policymakers, academia, civil society organization, youth and women organization in the region. It started in April this year, and it will lead to the organization with the governor of Cabo Verde this September 3 to 5, of a regional conference on information integrity for West Africa and the Sahel. And it's expected the conference will lead to the adoption of the model policy framework for information integrity in West Africa, as well as an action plan for information integrity in the region. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Warewe. Am I ahead?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Dr. Warewe. I chair the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum. Thank you for the presentation, particularly the comprehensive assessment of the Africa IGF that held in Tanzania. I'm particularly concerned about the implementation of some of the declarations that were mentioned, particularly one of the contributors here listed the nations that have adopted some of those declarations. And I tried to make consultations with my secretariat to find out if these declarations have been formally written in correspondences to the NRIs, and I got a negative response. So my presentation here is that when such events like the Africa IGF or even the West Africa IGF that we hosted, we should be able to reach out to all local and regional IGFs to formally write these are the outcomes and these are the roles that you are supposed to play. And then thereafter, we all are aware that implementation of policies, adoptions, and all that are usually difficult. So we should create a provision for following up and monitoring the execution of this so that we, to a great extent, we're able to achieve what we have set out to do. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we stop here. Maybe the second round after we go through the question. I think we have some of the intervention was not question, it was just reporting, but we will try to address the question that were raised. Let me start before give the floor to the rest of the colleague here. There was a question about Malabo Convention. The first question, I guess. It's true that there was a small ratification, but Malabo Convention went into force in 2023. We needed 15 ratification. So for the treaty to go into force, and we are now at 17. I agree it's very low number of countries ratifying, and that's why we are taking a two-pronged approach. Number one, working with ECA, we want to have this committee, first of all, to do some kind of a research. Why countries are not ratifying? What are the reasons? What are the challenges? So that we can address those challenges and then go to the country and give them answers. Second approach is to develop model law to explain, because as you mentioned, correctly mentioned, that the Malabo is a very old treaty. It has to be updated. So I think we also did a review report of the Malabo Convention. We suggested some amendment, but unfortunately the countries, they're supposed to champion those amendments, but they have not, so far they have not come forward. But the model laws are, the intent of the model law is to be able to explain and to add more content, because as I said, 2014 is a long time ago in this space. So we are doing model law so that the countries, they can feel more comfortable to after explaining, like for instance, data protection, cybercrime, and all that. So after you explain that in the model law, so the country are going to be more inclined to ratify. So this is with regard to the question. There was a question from the GISA director about. I will leave some of the question to my colleagues, but I'll try to see the direct question that was addressed to us. There was a question about these initiatives. There are too many initiatives, and with all the politics, geopolitics that is happening now, what are we going to do? Especially with the international partners being a little bit now, they are going through a very tough time. It's true. I think the country, they have to step up, the African countries. I think it's good that we have minister with us. They have to step up, not only actually in providing funds, in mobilizing funds and getting the private sector. I think it's important for the private sector to be part of this, because in developed nation, private sector is playing a major role on the digital space. So I think we look forward to the countries to step up in terms of playing a leadership role, not only in providing funds, but also in mobilizing funds through the private sector. I think it's very important that we get the private sector into the equation. There is also, within the African Union Commission, there is also a move to take a levy from the GDP. It's like 0.02% levy from GDP, so that it can go into development. We're still not getting enough number of countries to adopt this approach, but I think if it's adopted, then I think maybe it's going to provide a little bit of relief. But I totally agree that there is a challenge, a huge challenge. Not only Africa is facing, even developing countries now they are facing this challenge. Let me stop here and then pass the mic to my colleague Makhtar, and also the representative from Tanzania.
Thank you, Adil. Thank you all for your pertinent question and contribution. Let me start first by Ariette about the implementation of the IGF recommendation. As you know, IGF, it is just an outcome of the wishes. It's just a platform for discussion. Everything happening in IGF, it is not, you don't have any obligation to implement it. It is why in the new reform of IGF, we need to look at this implementation side, because we discuss every year since 19 years on IGF, and nothing is happened about the recommendation. Even when you come to the global IGF, there is no recommendation, just there is a report and the summary of the discussion. In Africa, we try to adopt this, to have a declaration, but you don't make confusion between declaration and resolution. The declaration, it is just commitment. We have the key challenge, and we think we are going to do this, and we commit ourselves. It is why we need to rethink how we can use IGF for sustainable development, how IGF can contribute to bridge the digital divide in the continent and as a continent also. And this ongoing discussion on the expansion of IGF, also how to align IGF with this global digital compact, and which is very important. How we talk about this monitoring evaluation framework, how we can integrate this monitoring evaluation framework under IGF. It is something also we have to take into consideration. I fully agree, IGF provide a platform of discussion where a lot of great idea coming, but the lack, it is implementation side, but it is a spirit of IGF is a little bit different to WISIS, where we have some target and some resolution, and this is something we try to sort it out this year during the General Assembly in December 2025. Amina, yes, I think you did very good youth summit. It is we have to encourage our all youth in the continent, and because the future of the continent is a youth, and we need to support you more. Also to involve you on all the discussion we are having in the continent, because everything we discuss is for youth. Yeah, we need to get their view, their advice, and to see how we can go together to support them. It's very important for the future. When you talk about digital skills, we need to involve youth in the discussion. When we talk about entrepreneurship, job creation, we need to involve you in this discussion. It's very important, and sometimes it is something we forget in several discussions. You don't have a youth, and we need to have this youth to be fully part on the discussion across the continent. It's not only ICT sector. When you talk about agriculture, climate change, we need to involve you. Industrial development, we need to involve you. Fully agree with you. We discussed a lot on this, but for the Afrinic, I will not respond now, because tomorrow we are going to have a discussion, a meeting on Afrinic. We have several issues about Afrinic on CCTLD and the domain name in the continent. And to Wisdom tomorrow, the meeting is at 10, I think. What time is it? Wisdom, is it in the room? Now we have the meeting. Soren, what time is the meeting? Yeah, 11:30 to 12 at Studio 8. Okay, 11. We invite tomorrow 11:30 to attend this meeting. Very important for the continent. We have a special discussion on amongst the agenda on Afrinic. Supply side, yeah, it's where we have to go. I think we talk about 20 years, but more than 20 years. The 30 years we talk about development technology across the continent, and we are still not progressing very well. It is a reason why at ECA we have this Science Technology Innovation Forum. Also, we already established the African Center of Artificial Intelligence in Congo, and also we are going to establish soon the STEAM Center in Rwanda, and also the Cyber Security Center in Togo, to push and to promote innovation across the continent. And without the supply side, we can't be a key actor in this technology revolution. The other question is, GIZ, thank you, Dr. Tobias, also for the support we receive from GIZ. We have France, we have Kaku, and all is here. We work closely with you, and we appreciate this collaboration, and we are fully right. Given this freeze, what we have to do. You know, we have several organizations. Even at UN, we have several organizations doing same thing sometimes. Now it is a reflection under the UN 80. We talk about UN 80, and to see how we can be more efficient working together. First, with the UN agency, with our partner and also with member states. We have seen where we have a duplication, we have to avoid. It is a policy now. If you have two agencies doing the same thing, we are going to merge them. It's clear. With our several partners at the UN, at the continental level, we are going to look at the comparative advantage of each organization. And each organization who has this comparative advantage should lead any project related to each sector. And we have to change the approach of our member state. We need to give them, member state doesn't have a lot of issue on funding. We need to give more advisory service to the member state. It is well. Because some countries, you go there, they told you we don't need money, just we need advisory service. What's happened in as a continent or as a country? How can I adapt my need to be more efficient? When you talk about digital ID, we can look at the case we developed in in Ethiopia. When you look at digital agriculture, look at what we have done in Botswana to see how we can replicate it in this country. And also to have to involve the member state in the all development support we are doing. It's something very important, and we become will become more efficient. I think this freeze is very important, and also it comes at the right time now for people to think about the new way to support member state and the new way to also to work together and inside also to develop our own expertise in-house. I think it is something we are doing now. We have several working group at the UN80, and by end of June, we are going to have a first proposal for all UN agency, and after we go to member state, before we are going to the General Assembly. And also Malawi, how to promote digital inclusion in the rural area. You know, we have several ways to develop this digital inclusion. First, the big issue, it is a usage gap in the continent. You have the network, but you don't have a connectivity. People didn't connect. Why? Because they don't have money to pay, because there is an issue of affordability on the data and also on the device. For data, it's easy. We can just look at our policy, taxation policy, and have a good regulation of the sector to reduce the data. We have one tool developed by ECA on the taxation of the ICT sector. This will improve the connectivity in across all the continent, in the rural area, urban area. As a device, we need to have an industry in Africa. How we can work together to develop the device in the continent. And data also, why also this support from GIZ is very important. It is the way to harmonize data, to make data accessible in the continent as a low cost also. Yeah. And this one can help the rural area to be more connected. And also technology. Technology side, I think Ponsele was there. They have a lot of technology adapted to the rural area. Why you put 5G in place where you don't need it? You have several applications, VSAT, satellite, constellation, Wi-Fi. You can use as a technology alternative for this rural area. And also, the other point, it is the Universal Access Fund. In several countries, they have a Universal Access Fund to connect what call is the underserved area, rural area included. But sometimes this innovation, this this Universal Fund is not going to support the rural area. It is a political issue. Unfortunately, we have to think about, if you want to put a universal fund for ICT, this universal fund should respond to the need of this sector. It's where we can develop also this, promote this inclusion in the rural area. Another one, it is a UNESCO. We fully agree with you. I think it is a good project. Also, in the Internet Governance Forum, we have this declaration. The declaration is posted in the website. Now we are going to make it very official. There is a STC to be organized by African Union by end of October, beginning of November. And we are going to submit this declaration with this declaration and IGF declaration to the Minister of ICT for adoption. Now, when they adopt it, become a resolution for African to have their common position on WICIS plus 20 and IGF also. And now, at the national level, we are going to see how we can implement and we can report on this next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we have time for one intervention. And basically, I think just let me compliment a little bit before I give you the floor. I think this is why now IGF Plus is very important, because I see a lot of question about the recommendation, what happened, implementation, and all that. So IG Plus is very important, and contribution from people like you, I think, is very important, so that it can be enhanced, it can be strengthening the IGF. And on the inclusion question, I think we need to think more about not connectivity, but solutions. I think we need to think about also community, provide solution to the communities. Like if there is an issue with education, we provide education, but embedded in the solution is connectivity, everything. So we need to change the mindset from providing connectivity and it's not used to solutions, meaning like if you have issues, local issues, community issues, you need to address them through provision of solution, and then the solution is going to be an integrated solution. Let me give the floor to our colleague here, Coco.
Thank you very much, Adil. So yesterday in our session, the point of harmonizing our data policies was made strongly. But what we usually do not talk about is also something that Maktar just mentioned, which is to get the organizations to work together. So I think one area we need to look at is the harmonization of the efforts of the several organizations on the continent that are working on data policies. So you have AUC leading the effort, UNECA is supporting member states, Digital Impact Alliance, Smart Africa. There are several organizations, and I think we need to harmonize this effort, because the challenge I see is this: different organizations work with different policy approaches and policy frameworks. And if we do not harmonize the work we are doing, then what is going to happen is that neighboring countries may have different policy frameworks that do not speak to each other, and this will make harmonization extremely difficult. So this is also an area that I think we should look at going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we are going to be not doing this service if you don't give the floor to Surin. Surin has been very instrumental in the African IGF organization. So let's her give the floor for her to say a few words. But I think let's give her a round of applause for the job well done with the organization of the African IGF over the last 2 years. Thank you very much, Surin.
Thank you, Adil. Thank you, everyone, for coming to this open forum. I just want to start from the declaration, especially on the last line, that we are calling for the permanent structure of the IGF. When we are calling for the global IGF to be permanent structure, we ask ourselves in the African region, how do we make sure that the African IGF Secretariat, which is the brain or the machine behind what happens in the African IGF forum. I just want to take you back 2 years when the African community had an engagement meeting in Kyoto. We decided to have a task force to make sure that we need to review our charter, which will guide the Secretariat, the MAG, which is the Program Director of the African IGF itself, and the hosting institution currently is ECA in collaboration with AUC. How they can work seamlessly, which produced a new charter and already adopted last year in November in Addis Ababa, which today you see Anret, which is the program director of the African School of Internet Governance, talk very happily about the organization and the support she got from the host country, because this year we made sure that the Secretariat incorporate all running activities from the African School of Internet Governance, the Youth IGF, the parliamentarian track, before the forum to happen, working cohesively. Not only even the African IGF, even the global IGF has been working with us seamlessly. But I just want to also go back what the GIZ director said. Our commitment is how much resource we put in place to strengthen the structure and the institute. I work at ECA, and ECA has been playing pivotal role to make sure that the Secretariat institution is strong enough. So that's why this year we can really see the success of African IGF. So going forward, we need to create stability for the Secretariat, and I want to thank the GIZ, which is our greatest supporter, IZOC and ICANN, who hold our hand to make sure that the African community engage. But I would like also the support to be institutional support instead of forum support, because all the conversation we have, the Malabo Convention, the Wizards Review, the NRIs, for them to play, the Secretariat has to be as strong as possible, which will require institutional support. With that, I will close. Thank you so much for always being supportive. Tomorrow we have African Engagement Forum in Studio N from 11:30 to 12:30 that we will discuss any of our issues and
opportunities. Thank you very much,
Tareen.
With that, we thank you very much. We come to the conclusion of this meeting. Thank you for coming, and have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.